I am the stone that the builder refused. I am the visual, the inspiration. The make ladies see the blues. I'm the spark that makes your idea bright. The same spark that likes the dark, so that you can find your left and right. I am the ballad in your box, the bullet in the gun, in the glow that lets you know the target of the sun. The story that we begun, the promise of what's to come, and I will remain a soldier till the war is won.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and we are here at the Williams Grove Railroad in Williams Grove, Pennsylvania, here to see B4060 switcher number 643. The steam locomotive is currently firing up for the annual Chalmers Tractor event here at the railroad. So they'll be pulling trips here today with their two open cars and N5 caboose. As well, we're also going to see a freight train hauled by the locomotive today to get some great sound out of the engine, of course, going up the railroad's many grades. So, with that being said, let's see what we can get out here today on the Williams Grove Railroad.
The Williams Grove Steam Engine Association is located in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania, about 20 to 30 minutes west of Harrisburg. The operation is most notable for operating Pennsylvania Railroad number 643, as of the making of this video, the only operating Pennsylvania Railroad steam locomotive. Number 643 is an 060 type switcher steam locomotive, built honestly during the turn of the century in 1901 by the Altoona shops, and christened as a B4A by the Pennsy. The locomotive would only serve under the Pennsy for about 17 years, until in 1918 it was sold to a steel mill in Harrisburg, becoming Central Iron and Steel Company number 5. Its life in revenue service ended in 1959 when the steel mill ceased operations. It was soon acquired by the newly established Williams Grove Historical Society in 1961, where it was returned to its Pennsy heritage and now pulls trains on the line till this day. Neat thing about the 643 is that it was the only locomotive to be brought in by rail via the nearby main line. And I already know someone's gonna ask it, so I might as well put it here. The whistle heard on the locomotive is a Lunkenheimer 3 chime, and yes, they were cool letting me have a go. In addition to the 643, the railroad also rosters 2 diesel locomotives, this one here being the railroad's number 8. A product of the Whitcomb Locomotive Company, it was constructed in 1953 for the Pennsylvania Power and Light Company. It was acquired by the Williams Grove in the 1980s, serving as a switcher, maintenance of way locomotive, and occasionally seen on the tourist train between 2001 and 06 when 643 was out of action due to boiler work. In addition to number 8, the railroad's other diesel locomotive is number 52. This 65-ton diesel locomotive was built in 1953 by Vulcan Iron Works in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. As far as Vulcan Iron Works products go, number 52 is quite rare among their built fleet, as it's a 65-ton diesel, and Vulcan Iron usually manufactured 25-ton diesel locomotives. After construction by Vulcan Iron Works, it was sold to the Pennsylvania Power and Light Company, similar to Williams Grove number 8, and served for that operation as their number 3347. The locomotive eventually became surplus to the company as it had switched from using coal to natural gas. The Williams Grove picked it up in 2010, and it was trucked to the railroad in December of that year. As of the making of this video again, it is currently, to the operation, its most recent acquired piece of equipment. Dawn now in a new Pennsy-inspired scheme, it usually operates flea market trips on Sunday or as a backup to number 643 when it's not running. Straying away a bit from the railroad's equipment, the history of this place goes all the way back to 1961 when a small group of volunteers were in the hopes of acquiring their own steam locomotive and operating a small line in Pennsylvania. First established as the Williams Grove Steam Line, eventually they acquired 643, and following that, the mile-long railroad was eventually completed. The property has evolved so much from the 64 years they've been in steam, so much so that they don't only own rail equipment, but also steam tractors.
What?
Now to the lesser known, yes, tractors also used to be powered by steam, with honestly a lot more greater use. These machines of agriculture could usually be seen plowing fields, hauling farm equipment, or even threshing grains. Now the tractors aren't actually threshing the grain, however providing the power to a threshing machine. One of the Grove's examples was fired up before us, their 1927 George White traction engine. This is one of the examples that typically participates in the organization's steam shows, alongside loads other steam tractors. Mounted atop the boiler here are two distinct steam whistles of the region, a Pensy 3 chime and a Pensy Banshee, the latter of which will send foamers screaming in a bad way. Lucky enough, both whistles were eventually hooked up and we got the chance at blowing the whistle. Shoutouts to my boy Preston for allowing us up there, by the way. Not gonna lie, when we pulled up at the Grove, there was a heavy presence of tractors in general, not just the steam ones, but an array of different vintage tractors. I wonder why. There was an entire tractor show going on. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, there was an Alice Chalmers tractor event going on at the property, where over a dozen tractors pulled up to the event. And how do you balance out that tractor event for the public? You throw in that train ride, of course. And I know some of y'all probably want us to slide back to the railroad, which is exactly what we're going to do, as you all came to this video for Williams Grove 643, so I'm going to give you exactly what you asked for. However, sliding back over to the railroad, I'd like to introduce you to one of my day ones, who's also train crew on the 643. This is my boy Jack Anschutz, one of the railroad's many volunteers, and one of 643's seasoned firemen. Low-key, he was honestly the one who encouraged me to pop out to this operation and check out all that it has to offer. Jack also has a channel over at Eastbound Productions. Make sure to check out some of his content. He has some good rail fanning vids out there too. Being a fireman, you would only assume that Jack would only be up in the cab shoveling coal and tending to the fire. However, there's more to that. You also have to take care of your locomotive. And here he's seen oiling up. Pause. Providing oil to the rods to keep the motion fluctuating without seizing up. But of course, bro is usually shoveling coal. And if I haven't explained this already to the general public, firemen are what provide the power for the engine, which in turn provides steam for the engineer to operate. On the topic of an engineer and fireman, Jack's uncle Tom was also at the throttle of 643 for a few of the runs during the day. And he and Jack graciously allowed me to ride along with them on one of their trips up the railroad. Highly thank them for that experience, by the way. That was incredible. Those clips will be mixed in as we'll be taking a trip up the line a la 643. I should have noted that the cab is a very loud perspective of the locomotive, so sorry to those using headphones. But now we're underway on the Williams Grove. About a second ago here, you just saw Jack open up a yellow valve right in front of us. That's known as the injector, which supplies water from the tender into the boiler. The reason he's opened up the injectors is because we're approaching our first grade on the railroad, which is estimated at about 2%. As we enter the grade, the water in the boiler will tend to slosh back, so having that extra supply of water will keep the water level in the boiler. It's good practice when running uphill, but especially critical when running downhill, as leaving that firebox exposed with all that heat would not lead to a good time. If you know, you know. After descending down the grade and going over the crossing, we've made it to a straightaway where we get some on-the-road firing action with Jack. As we look down track here, this is what I'd like to call the show spot. Essentially, while me and my buddy Tristan Wise were out, the engine crew advised us to set up by a curve by the end of the line, as we'd be promised some stack talk. So enjoy this show, provided by the 643 and her crew. Once 643 is completed working up the grade, we arrive at the end of the line. The Williams Grove intends to have a full mile loop of track around their property one day to run trains at a longer distance. And they're holding a Buy a Tie fundraiser to help spearhead the project. So if you're interested in helping contribute to this project, I highly consider checking it out. Like most preservation groups, the Williams Grove Railroad is indeed an all-volunteer organization, as evident here, and all donations and all contributions tend to keep things moving. And after we make our brief stop at the end of the line, we're on our way back, shoving to the station. Later in the day, we got a bit of a rare experience out at the Grove. 643 had shoved the consist back through their shop area to couple onto a sitting freight train. This 4-car freight set, plus the 3 cars sitting already behind 643, will make this a 7-car consist, which will get some good sound out of the engine going up the grades on the railroad. It just popped up into my head that I never actually covered the rolling stock behind 643, so I'll do so now. The 2 open-air cars, tank car and flat car on the train, all came from the Everett Railroad in Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania. Or should I say Everett in its earliest form.
I'll go over the rest of the cars in a bit, but for now, enjoy 643 slugging this 7-car train set up to the crest of the grade. The 2 caboose on the train also formerly served for the Pennsylvania Railroad, one being wooden and the other being steel. The first caboose coming into sight is the N5B caboose, which came from the East Penn Railroad in 2017 and now serves as the Grove's main caboose. Hint to those planning to come out to the Grove, it's getting a new paint scheme, so stay up with the railroad's updates if you want to see how that goes. Bringing up the rear of the train is the Woodside N6B caboose, which also currently seemed to be in a repaint when we visited the railroad. Being given the nickname Woody, it and the Maryland and Pennsylvania boxcar were some of the first pieces of rolling stock purchased for the railroad and currently still see active service, as you can see here today. Returning back to the station, we witness a stalled train? In an attempt to put the freight train away, 643 ended up stalling itself on the 2% grade leading into the shop area. It was soon decided that a second attempt would be needed, and they rolled back down to the bottom of the hill to give another try. As they reach the bottom of the grade, what you'll notice is Engineer Tom will throw the reversing gear in forwards, slacking out the train, which will pull out tension between each coupler and help him pick up each car one at a time as he shoves up the grade rather than taking on the entire train at once. Enjoy this clip of 643 digging into the grade, featuring some pretty cool wheel slip action. And just like that, they made the hill. What a way to end our video today out at the Grove.
Well, that's going to wrap up today's adventure here at the Williams Grove Railroad today, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. Special thanks to my grandfather for bringing me out here. Highly appreciate him. This wouldn't have been done without him. Make sure to check out all the photos and such on Instagram and Facebook. Links for that are in the description. And as well, special thanks to all the rail fans and special guys that we met out here today, as well, including steam crew on the 643 and the people running the tractor show. Really couldn't have done this without them. Again, that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.